Loving Sai Ram and greetings from Prashanti Nilayam. A good many of us have had the experience of Swami telling us when we see him for the first time how he has slowly been tugging the rope, drawing us near to him. This is nothing new for Swami, since he used to do this in the Shirdi avatar also, as I shall describe in this talk. I shall start with the story of a man named V.H. Thakur from a humble family who successfully went through college, earned the BA degree, and looked forward to a good government job, the ultimate in security then and indeed for a long time since that time also. By God's grace, this man did get a job as a clerk in the revenue department on a monthly salary of 30 rupees. In order to improve his career prospects, this man Thakur often travelled over the Ghats, Western Ghats that is, to join land surveyors and gain some experience in this kind of activities. He did all this by way of preparing for departmental exams, by passing which he could get promotion. Once, government surveyors went to a village named Vadgaon near the town of Belgaum and camped there to do some survey work. This man Thakur also went there to join the surveyors. In that village was a saint, and this clerk went to have the saint's darshan. At that time, the holy man was reading a book entitled Vichar Sagar, written by one Nischal Das. After darshan, the clerk took leave and prepared to go. The holy man then said to Thakur, "You may go now, but try to read this book, for it would fulfill your wishes. Later, go north, for by doing so, you would have the darshan of a great saint. This saint would guide you and help you to gain peace of mind. Imprint his teachings on your mind." Sometime after this, Thakur was asked to go to a place called Junnar, where he had to perform an assignment. To reach Junnar from the place where he was serving then, Thakur had to cross over a mountain named Naneghat in the Western Ghats. This Naneghat was quite high and difficult to climb and get across. It could be climbed only by riding a he-buffalo. This Thakur did, and after completing the assignment at Junnar, he was posted in Kalyan near Bombay. In Kalyan, Thakur met Nana Chandorkar, and hearing from him about Shirdi Baba, was filled with a desire to have the darshan of Baba. Nana said, "Good, we will both go to Shirdi and have Baba's darshan together." A day was also fixed for the journey, but as ill luck would have it, Thakur had to attend a court case in Thana. Nana tried hard to persuade this man to forget the court and go to Shirdi instead, adding that Baba's darshan would take care of all problems. But Thakur was adamant, and thus it was, while Thakur went to Thana to attend the proceedings of the court, Nana Chandorkar went to Shirdi. Thakur's trip to Thana proved to be in vain, for the court adjourned the proceedings. Thakur now began to regret not joining Nana in the trip to Shirdi, and he started preparing to leave for Shirdi, hoping that Nana would be there to guide and help him. But unfortunately for Thakur, Nana was leaving Shirdi to return to Kalyan, even as Thakur was headed there. We must remember that in those days people did not have mobile phones. Thus, when Thakur reached Shirdi, Nana was not there. However, Thakur found another friend, and with his help he managed to approach Baba and offer obeisance. Seeing Baba, he was filled with emotion and tears flooded his eyes. Baba then said, "Going through life is more difficult than climbing the Ghats on a he-buffalo." When Thakur heard this, he was stunned, naturally. Folding hands, he placed his head at Baba's lotus feet and said, "Maharaj, have mercy on me and take me under your wing. Today, I have experienced the greatest bliss and finally understood what that holy man in Vadgaon told me then." Oh, where is Vadgaon and where is Shirdi? That man said, read the book and later you will meet a saint who will guide you. I read the book and now I have the blessing of being in your presence. Baba replied, what that holy man in Vadgaon said is true. But reading is not enough. You must put into practice what you have read. At this point, Hemat Pant makes several remarks about reading and practicing. Since those remarks are important, permit me to briefly refer to them. Hemat Pant gives some very useful tips on how to read a holy book. Many make a vow that they would read such and such a book in 7 days flat or whatever. They then sit down piously and finish reading the book in the stipulated time. This is considered a sacred act and many expect rewards. While this is the way most people do the reading, Pant says that reading should be done differently. First, one must read. After that, one must sit back and contemplate on the meaning of what one has read and the lessons that the text has for one's daily life. One must then go back to the book again and read it once more. And then one must sit back and contemplate again and repeat this cycle many times. It is only after that the lessons would sink in true and proper manner and blend seamlessly with one's normal life. That is the goal one must really aim at. Swami also says the same. He says that devotees must not merely listen to his divine discourses, but must later reflect and contemplate on the lessons taught. After this, the lessons must be internalized, and that is the way teachings must be put into practice. At times he tells students, what is the use of being able to quote all the 700 and odd slokas in the Gita? Put into serious practice at least one half of one sloka, that would do. All this is very pertinent in the context of many who regard reading as a ritual that must be religiously gone through in times of crisis for getting out of the problem. Yes, God would be even so kind as to help, provided one does the reading in the proper way. Swami says that whenever he felt depressed, Mahatma Gandhi would read the second chapter of the Gita. Why the second chapter? Because it has great lessons about equanimity. And Gandhi would read that chapter so that he would get the strength to practice equanimity and get out of his depression. So you see, listening to sermons or reading of holy books must all be done according to a proper plan. Superficial reading, like one reads a newspaper, will not do. Hemat Pant then goes on to say something that all of us Sai devotees would do well to pay careful attention to. Pant observes that one may read all the books in the world, but none of them can give the peace of mind as the darshan of the avatar can. In this context, Pant quotes the example of one Anantarao Patankar of Pune, who had read all the Vedas, Upanishads and the various related texts. Yet, peace of mind eluded him. Destiny then brought him to Shirdi and the lotus feet of Sai Maharaj. One glimpse of the avatar and Patankar's face brightened immediately. With great joy, he told Baba, I now feel that whatever I have read was simply not useful. The illiterate who have not read anything but who have infinite faith in you are more fortunate. O Maharaj, now that I have finally come to you, please do bless me. Pant says that Baba then made a humorous remark. Baba said, there was once a merchant with a horse. One day, he was standing in front of his horse when the horse dropped 9 nodules of dung. Do you know what the merchant did? He immediately spread out his upper cloth and collected all the droppings. Patankar, who was new to Baba and therefore unaware of the riddles through which Baba sometimes spoke, later asked Dada Kelkar, what is it that Baba said? What could be the significance? Why did the merchant collect the nodules of horse dung? I just do not understand the meaning of it all. Dada Kelkar replied, Baba often speaks in riddles, and frankly, I too do not understand most of them. But this one I think I can explain. The horse in this case represents the grace of God. The 9 nodules of dung represent the famous 9 paths of devotion. What Baba is saying is that God cannot be attained by mere textual knowledge. Devotion is far more important. There are 9 prescribed paths, and through any one of them, God can be easily attained. So, Baba is saying, forget books and practice devotion instead. We devotees of Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba would do well at this point to recall how many times Swami has commended to us this very same ninefold path of devotion. Swami sometimes says that practical knowledge is any day superior to bookish knowledge. That remark also means the same thing. Bookish knowledge means a mere knowledge of what the holy books say. Practical knowledge means putting into practice what the scriptures say. I now turn to another story that illustrates how Baba knew everything about everybody. Once, a lawyer came to Shirdi and went to the mosque for Baba's darshan. He bowed at the lotus feet, offered dakshina, and then sat there along with other devotees, listening to Baba speaking and making conversation with those present. Suddenly, Baba turned towards this lawyer and said, "Oh, how insincere people can be. They will come here, offer dakshina, and yet curse all the time in their heart." The lawyer was taken aback when he heard this. He felt that Baba had addressed this to him personally, and there was reason for him to believe so. You see, once the Munsif of the court where this lawyer worked, that is to say the civil judge, had gone to Shirdi. This Munsif was quite ill, and he thought only a pilgrimage to Shirdi would cure him. That was how strong he was in his faith. However, back in his town, many ridiculed the Munsif for undertaking a pilgrimage instead of seeing a good doctor. Thus it was that in the lawyer's room of the court, there was a discussion about the foolishness of the Munsif, to which this lawyer, now in Shirdi, also contributed. On that occasion, this lawyer too poked fun at the Munsif, and now Baba was making a direct reference to that incident in such a manner that only the lawyer would understand. This was often the way Baba worked. Many would say this is the way our beloved Swami also teaches, sometimes with a small twist. Once in Trai, I was there seated close to Swami, and the hall was pretty full. Suddenly, Swami started to blast me. For a moment, I was taken aback, for I was not at all guilty of what I was being accused of. Soon I realized that Swami was using me merely as a proxy to reprimand someone else, whose identity he did not want to disclose to the devotees assembled there. It was a drama, and since I caught on to what was going on, I did not worry about the dose I was getting. Yes, strange are the ways of the avatar. Talking of strange ways, here is a story to substantiate that very point. There was a man named Kaka Sahib Mirikar, a resident of Ahmednagar, who was an ardent devotee. So was his son Bala Sahib Mirikar, who served as Mamlatdar, a district official in Kopargaon. Once, while on an official tour to a place called Chihali, this Bala Sahib stopped over in Shirdi for Baba's darshan. Baba then started making cryptic and enigmatic remarks about the mosque that left Bala Sahib totally lost. And just when Bala Sahib was leaving, Baba said, "Do you know that long Baba, meaning snake, and his wonder? He is terrible, but what harm can he do to us? When Dwarka Mai is our protector, how can the long Baba kill?" Everyone was wondering what exactly Baba meant, but no one had the courage to ask. What had a snake got to do with Bala Sahib Mirikar? Meanwhile, Bala Sahib took leave of Baba and went out of the mosque. Madhavrao Deshpande was present in the mosque until then, also prepared to leave. Barely had he stepped out when Baba called Madhavrao back in and said, "Shama, get ready and join Mirikar on his trip to Chitali. You would enjoy it." For Shama, orders were orders, and he went out, caught up with Mirikar and said to him, "Listen, I am coming along with you in the Tonga, the horse cart. Just give me a few minutes to go home, get ready, and pack up a few things for the journey." Bala Sahib was surprised and asked, "What would you do coming all the way to Chitali?" it would mean a lot of unnecessary trouble for you. Shama then went back to Baba and reported that Bala Sahib Mirikar wanted to proceed alone. Baba then replied, "We should always wish for the best for all. In the ultimate analysis, whatever is their destiny is bound to happen." Now suddenly, after asking Shama to go back, Bala Sahib Mirikar had a doubt. He realized that Baba's words must be obeyed, even if he did not understand them. So, he quietly signaled to Madhav Rao to join him on his way to Chitali. But Shama was not so ready now. He had gone back to Baba and said that he was not wanted, and Baba had said, so be it. If now he was to go, a fresh permission was required. So, Shama went to Baba again to consult him. Incidentally, where Swami is concerned, I have seen many devotees checking and rechecking with Swami to make sure they are following his instructions to the letter. Something like that happened then in Shirdi also, and in the incident that I am now narrating. So Shama went back to Baba and asked if he could go with Bala Sahib to Chitali. Baba said, all right, if he wants you to go along with him, by all means go. A mother will never forsake her children. But when children do not trust her, how can she look after them? Madhav Rao simply did not understand all this, but did namaskar and took leave of Baba to join Mirikar. Both of them, Mirikar and Shama, then went to Chitali. Arrangements had been made for them to stay in a Maruti temple there. So, both of them retired there at once. It was past 10 o'clock at night, and both Mirikar and Shama spread out their beds and sat talking. A newspaper was lying there, which Mirikar then picked up and started reading. He became deeply engrossed in reading a particular item. Meanwhile, a snake had silently crept in from somewhere and was crawling and gliding up a cloth that Mirikar was wearing round his waist. As the snake moved, it rustled the paper that Mirikar was holding, and that produced some sound. However, Mirikar was so absorbed in his reading that he did not notice the sound. But a government peon who had come to assist Mirikar heard a suspicious sound and held up his lamp. When he did so, he was horror-stricken to see a long snake, or Baba as Shirdi Baba had referred to it earlier. Panicking, the peon cried, "Snake, snake!" Mirikar, who heard this cry, now began to tremble all over. Shama heard the cry of the peon and saw the snake. Becoming petrified with fear, he cried out, "Baba, what's happening here? From where have you sent this unwanted peril? You alone can save us, and you must do it immediately." As if in response to this prayer, the snake started gliding down Mirikar's waist and get onto the floor. Meanwhile, many had already gathered there, armed with cudgels. The moment the snake came to the ground, they rained blows on it and killed it. Mirikar then realized that Baba knew of all this in advance and had specially sent Shama to play his role in saving him. Listen now to another snake story, but of a different kind. It concerns one Amir Shakkar of Korale in Kopargaon Taluk. This Amir became afflicted with a serious disease that left him severely debilitated. As people in distress often do, Amir now turned towards God, that is to say, he went to Shirdi and had Baba's darshan and made his prayer. He said, "Baba, I am having this terrible pain on account of rheumatism. Please give me some remedy for it." Baba replied, "Go and sit quietly in the chowdi." I must explain here that chowdi was the second home of Baba, and he used to spend alternate days there. Way back around 1600, this building known as chowdi was a respectable mansion, but since then it had fallen into ruins. As Hemant Pant describes, chameleons, lizards, scorpions and snakes were to be found there in plenty. The place was littered with debris and there were many holes in the floor. As if this was not enough, the chowdi was where many dogs and lepers also took refuge, and the place was cold and damp. This was the last place Amir wanted to be in, but that was where Baba sent him. Strangely, Baba himself slept there every alternate night. Who can say that Baba was not a riddle? To get back to the story of this man Amir, he did not like the place Baba had asked him to stay in, and he of course complained. But Baba sternly told him, There may be rain and the place may be damp. There may be many holes and so on. You should not think about them. Just stay put there. Amir was to stay in the chowdi and not even go to the mosque for darshan. That he would get in the chowdi itself. Amir spent 9 long months in the chowdi, bearing all the hardships in the hope that at the end of it all there would be permanent cure for his rheumatism. One fine day, Amir thought that enough was enough. He quietly slipped out of the chowdi and went to Kopargaon and stayed in a free lodging there. There he saw a fakir who was almost dying and who begged for some water to drink. Moved by compassion, Amir fetched some water for this dying man. The man drank the water and dropped dead, just like that. Amir was now very scared. He feared that people would accuse him of killing the fakir and that he would be arrested. Maybe he could eventually prove his innocence, but who knows how long that would take? Suddenly Amir felt that chowdi with all its faults offered more security, and he rushed back to Shirdi to return to the chowdi. All along he prayed intensely to Baba to save him from all this misery. Back in the chowdi, Amir did his best to lead a pure life, placing full faith in Baba, and as his faith grew, his rheumatic trouble slowly started decreasing. Now the chowdi was divided into 3 parts. On the southeastern side, there was a space walled in by 4 planks. This was Baba's quarters, and all his things were kept there. All the others, fakirs, lepers, etc., Amir included, lived in the portion outside this wooden enclosure reserved for Baba. Only one person was inside with Baba, and that was his loyal assistant Abdul. On one occasion around midnight, Baba suddenly said, "Abdul, just check if a ghost is standing at my bedside." Abdul rushed near Baba with a lamp in hand. Baba then said, "Search for him. He was here just a moment ago." Abdul, lamp in hand, searched everywhere and reported he could not see anything. Baba then said, "Look carefully everywhere." While Abdul began doing so, Baba now started beating the ground with his baton. The sound of this beating woke up all those who were sleeping outside. Amir too woke up, wondering what was going on. Having lived with Baba for some time, Amir knew something about the mysterious manner in which Baba often spoke. He understood that Baba was saying that a snake had entered the premises. Just as he was thinking all this, Amir suddenly saw something wriggling near his bed. Amir then shouted, "Abdul, bring the lamp here." Abdul rushed, and everyone saw a huge snake coiled up but furiously moving its head up and down. The snake was promptly disposed of, after which everyone thanked Baba for saving them. Listening to all this, some questions do arise. For example, was it right to kill the snake? Hemant Pant himself raises this issue and puts it this way. He says that for Baba, all things were equal because all were embodiments of God. Therefore, non-violence towards all is the one common rule. Whether it be a scorpion or a snake, God dwells in all of them. The whole universe is under the control of God, and so, when He does not will it, can any snake or scorpion cause harm? I am not sure how many of us are evolved enough to accept this high philosophy, but I must mention what Swami has said in the context of wild animals and the harm they might cause. Once in a discourse, Swami said, "In the old days, rishis withdrew to the forest to meditate. In those days, India was thick with forests in which all sorts of wild animals lived. But they never harmed the rishis. Why? They didn't harm the rishis because the rishis who were in contemplation of the Supreme One radiated love always. That aura of love protected them. When they were seated with their eyes closed, snakes would silently move away from them. And when the rishis went to the river early in the morning for their bath, wild animals would walk away from the path along which the rishis walked." That's what Swami said. Describing all this, Swami added that pure love is infinitely powerful. If one sincerely believes in that, one can see any number of manifestations of that power, especially when one is faced with great difficulties. Thus, faith and love go together. One cannot say, "I love God," and have little faith in His power. Conversely, one cannot merely say, "God is very powerful and will save me under any circumstances," and not love Him. Yes, God will indeed even save, but He will do that only when one has the eligibility, and that eligibility is built up by a love for God. Thank you for listening. Jai Sai Ram.
साई बाबा आणि सद्गुरु वामन, सद्गुरु वामन, हे न दोघे भिन्न, हे न दोघे भिन्न, एक रूप.
साई बाबा आणि सद्गुरु वामन, सद्गुरु वामन, हे न दोघे भिन्न, हे न दोघे भिन्न, एक रूप.
भाव साधकांनो ठेवा दोघां पायी, ठेवा दोघां पायी, परी विठाबाई, परी विठाबाई गावी वाचे.
भाव साधकांनो ठेवा दोघां पायी, ठेवा दोघां पायी, परी विठाबाई, परी विठाबाई गावी वाचे.
साई वामनाचे करावे पूजन, करावे पूजन, राखावा सन्मान, राखावा सन्मान भूपतीचा.
साई वामनाचे करावे पूजन, करावे पूजन, राखावा सन्मान, राखावा सन्मान भूपतीचा.
परमार्थात भक्ती व्यवहारी नीती, व्यवहारी नीती, संसारी विरक्ती, संसारी विरक्ती गणू म्हणे.
परमार्थात भक्ती व्यवहारी नीती, व्यवहारी नीती, संसारी विरक्ती, संसारी विरक्ती गणू म्हणे.
गुरुपाठाचे हे अभंग 25, हे अभंग 25, जपता होय नाश, जपता होय नाश पातकांचा.
गुरुपाठाचे हे अभंग 25, हे अभंग 25, जपता होय नाश, जपता होय नाश पातकांचा.
गुरुचे पवाडे गाता मोक्ष लाभे, गाता मोक्ष लाभे, नका मरू दंभे, नका मरू दंभे निरर्थक.
गुरुचे पवाडे गाता मोक्ष लाभे, गाता मोक्ष लाभे, नका मरू दंभे, नका मरू दंभे निरर्थक.
साई महाराजांचा धरुनिया हात, धरुनिया हात, तरा भवाब्दीत, तरा भवाब्दीत बुडू नका.
साई महाराजांचा धरुनिया हात, धरुनिया हात, तरा भवाब्दीत, तरा भवाब्दीत बुडू नका.
साईंच्या इच्छेने होते अवघे काही, अवघे काही, गणूकडे नाही, गणूकडे नाही बोल त्याचा.
साईंच्या इच्छेने होते अवघे काही, होते अवघे काही, गणूकडे नाही, गणूकडे नाही बोल त्याचा.
साईंच्या इच्छेने होते अवघे काही, होते अवघे काही, गणूकडे नाही, गणूकडे नाही